How's it going, everybody? I'm Ruby Burrito, and today I wanted to go over the next step of what my video that actually came out today was about. So I made a video about leveling in Guild Wars 2. So the two things that I focused on were the achievements. So if I go to my achievements, I can't see them here, but character adventure guide, you've got 5 different volumes that give you a bunch of experience that helps you level up faster. And on top of that, I discussed map completion. You can see all the different maps here, which additionally gives you bonus XP. The next thing that comes up is going to be the story journal. Now, here, because I am level 6 and I am not level 10, you can see just my introduction here. So my name, this character's name is Gargantuan Burrito. Though trouble may follow me, I overcome it with ferocity. The pale tree awakened me during the cycle of the night, and the most important of Ventari's teaching is all things have a right to grow. While still in my dream, I dreamed of the white stag, and I'm called to find it. When I fight, I use a resplendent curtain to block out the physical world in style. This is my story. If I want to go to the actual beginning, it's called Following the Dream. I have Fighting the Nightmare. Nightmare's poison is withdrawn from the dream. And then next is going to be Called to Service. And there's a note here that says this episode will become playable at level 10. And then you have a year, 1325 AE. So if I want to get this character moving to the next part of the story, I actually need to get them to level 10. So I will be right back. Alright, now that I'm level 10, you could see that I got a piece of mail. if I go to my mail, sighting of a legend, and then not a wall of text, but a fair bit of text, and it's telling me about the white stag. Ooh, white stag, that sounds familiar. If I go back to my story journal, ooh, look at that. I chose the white stag in character creation. So now it looks like if I go to following the dream, I can go speak to Kaith in the Dreamer's Terrace. So there's a lot of things that I'd like to cover really quickly here when it comes to the personal story. When people talk about the personal story, they're talking about pretty much everything that you see in this hero panel of the story journal. When the game dropped, which should be what is contained in the free version right now, is going to be everything under my story. This gets longer the further you get. So you can see in here, there's 5 different chapters, 8 different chapters. My story, it ends up being pretty dang long. That's what came out in 2012. And it will take me all the way from level 10 to level 80. So if you are wanting to break things up a little bit from what you're doing in leveling, you can come and do the personal story. Once you beat the personal story, the My Story personal story, there is Living World Season 1. This is what has come out this year. We are in 2022, and this finally was re-released. When it originally was introduced, ArenaNet had this wonderful idea of having a fully living world, and that's why it's called Living World. Yes, I know, very, very good with my words over here. But what they wanted to do is have the world ever changing. They were going to add new events, and when they were done, if you missed it, well, that kind of sucks, you know? You don't really get to go and play it again. And that's what happened here in Living World Season 1. When Flame and Frost came out, we were introduced to a whole bunch of characters. It started with a bunch of refugees showing up, and you kind of just had to figure out what was going on, and eventually you got story to do. And that happened all the way through the battle for Lion's Arch. And this is what I touched on in the last video as well, is this is where the Lion's Arch map got destroyed. I know that's a little bit of a spoiler, but they kind of tell you that when you go into Lion's Arch for the first time. So not much of a spoiler. And then up until this year, you jumped straight into Living World Season 2. And that's what led up to the first expansion, Heart of Thorns. And then we had Living World Season 3, Path of Fire, the second expansion, Living World Season 4, Icebrood Saga, and finally the most recent expansion, End of Dragons. The way that these typically work is you have to buy the expansions to have access to them, and if you are playing during a Living World season, you unlock it for free. That is why I have every single one of them unlocked. But if you weren't playing, you will have to purchase it. They very frequently do deals, I guess. And I know that this has been a criticism of what they've done. So I have a feeling in the future, if you want to go back and play Living World, you're going to get access to it. And if you really don't want to pay for it, you can save up gold.
Valiant.
Gold can be turned to gems, and that's one of the beautiful things of
he is the firstborn and has offered to
this
speak
game.
with you about your
Here in the background, you're actually going to see the dialogue, the voice dialogue. There is tons of voice dialogue in this game. It's one of the things that makes it very expensive to make, but a lot more enjoyable to play. You get these moments where you actually get to see your character interacting with the NPCs. I'm going to skip the rest of this because I don't want to pause for specifically the story, because that's not the point. The point's not so that you guys can see what my story would look like. It's so that you can kind of get an idea of how to draft your story. When you do things like that, you're in an instance. Everything else is open world. That's a specific instance, and that's why it's called the personal story, because most of it happens in instances. So I will go find the White Stag's tracks out in the wild. If I go here, I can see this green starburst that's telling me where to go. If I zoom out on my map, it gets pretty big, and then I can waypoint nearby. There is potentially hundreds of hours worth of story to do. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of achievements to complete with the story. Oh, and see, now actually it looks like I have to go this way. So if you want to get caught up, right now we don't know when the next content is going to happen. Now would be a really good time to try to get caught up. We're coming up on Christmas, and typically, you can see the green mark here. I can interact, follow the tracks. When we get to Christmas time, they typically do bundles, so you could get the expansions for cheap, and that will allow you access to a lot more content. The way that I like to describe the Living World seasons and the expansions are kind of like TV shows and movies. If you are, like, for example, a Marvel fan, you've got a whole bunch of TV shows, a whole bunch of movies. They're all related. The TV shows kind of come out one after another, and you get these short little bursts of content, which is kind of what Living World is. And then an expansion is like a movie. You get a whole bunch of content all at once. This is how it looks if you're going to go into a Living World instance. You go to the green starburst, and then you just hit yes, and it takes you into your personal instance. You can bring your friends, party of 5, and you can go have fun. I know a lot of this might have been intuitive, so hopefully I answered most of anybody's questions. If you have any other ones, absolutely feel free to leave a comment down below. If you see me in game, shoot me a whisper. I tried to help out somebody who was new to the game the other day. And if you see me, just feel free to say hi, even if you don't have any questions. Also, if you're feeling up to it, maybe give a like and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next one.